Good afternoon, Liverpool. Welcome everybody to this brilliant gig. It's the Phoenix Recover Music gig. It's taken a while to put together. This is a result of a competition that Vicky put together some months back. A lot of people entered to their songs and their tunes, and we've got some of the people who were in the final here this afternoon. We're also going to have a load of people who are going to provide a lot of shares with us. We did the run through this morning, and there were a few tears, so get your handkerchiefs ready, Karen. Okay, Di's going to be helping me out on stage in a minute. Allegedly, wherever she is. Hi, Di. Okay. This may be the first time that some of you have been to the Brink. It's part of Action on Addiction. And Recovery, it's a social enterprise. All the profits go directly back into the community to fund support for those who've suffered through addiction. So it's a brilliant gig, it's a brilliant afternoon, it's a brilliant venue. So hope you enjoy yourselves. Just to be aware that we're live streaming this as well, so say hi to Courtney over there, he'll be doing the live stream. Hi, Courtney. We've also put a few cards down the side there for people to write their comments on. So before you go, write a few comments about how you felt today, what it's meant to you, and what the gig's been like for you. Okay, so the first performance is by a band from Phoenix's Scottish Residential Unit. The band's made up of service users, graduates and staff from the residential who came together after music became a daily part of the morning meeting. The band were also finalists of the Recover project, a project from last year. Common Ground will be performing 2 numbers, one of which they wrote themselves. So welcome to Common Ground. Before they actually perform their first song, Archie's going to share with us some of his experiences.
Thanks guys, it's good to see you all here, thanks for coming. I'll just share a wee bit of my experience and how I ended up getting into recovery. I was born in a deprived housing scheme in the East End of Glasgow. It was rife with drug addiction, gang culture and everything else that comes with it. My mum was an active heroin addict, and I suffered a lot of neglect, a lot of physical abuse and a lot of mental abuse as a young child. To the point that social work had to get involved and I got took up my mum. I was at the age of 3, so I'm just trying to use a wee bit of my background. So through my full life it consisted of social works, residential schools, children's homes, foster homes and secure units. I took my first drug when I was 11 and I loved it. I'm not going to sit and lie here, I loved it, and if I'd known where that first drug would have took us, I wouldn't have done it. And I think everybody can vouch for that in the room that's an addict. So it was hard for me growing up, it was really tough. The behaviours that addicts display, I was displaying them before I even took a drug. I was an addict before I even picked up my first drug. A lot of bad behaviours, a lot of tears and a lot of sadness growing up. To the point I didn't know what to do. It was hard for me, really, really, really difficult. Sometimes it was good, sometimes it was bad. And what I noticed, by taking a look at myself by doing a treatment centre, I craved love and attention. I never got loved, I never got attention growing up. And that's why I acted the way I did. I know as it needed for somebody to be a role model. Is there no role models in my life? Maybe I had some role models, but they were for negative reasons. I.e. people doing the wrong things, drug dealing, I was attracted to it. So it was tough for me, it really was tough. So I picked up my first drug when I was in prison at the age of 16. It was heroin. And I loved that and all, even though I was sick and waiting and all that, it didn't stop me taking it. No matter what I took, I had to take more than everybody else. It didn't matter what states I got in, I would still go back and do it again. So I tried all the geographical stuff, I tried moving areas. Once I got out of prison, didn't work. Got myself a missus, didn't work. Had a kid, didn't work. Got a job, didn't work. I tried everything, because I didn't know anything about recovery, nothing at all about recovery. So I wouldn't say life was alright, but I had a missus, I had a house, I had a job, I had a kid, but life wasn't great. You know, I was still unable to live life on life's terms. And my missus just got enough of it, you know, and by the time I was 23, she threw us out, and that's when I kicked into the homeless scene. I'm now 27, and I'd started my treatment last May. I'm now a graduate at Phoenix Futures Glasgow. So the hostels was really difficult for me as well. And I can remember a worker coming in and for Sam H, which is the mental health team in Glasgow, and they sort of was there as a role model. He gave me hope, and he believed in me, and that was the first time I ever heard that. The first time I ever heard anybody that was willing to try their hardest to help me and better me. And I took that on board, so it pointed me in the direction of Phoenix. So I went up to Phoenix, and I came in going up for my tour, and I was like, no, I can't do this. Groups, look at yourself, do this, do that. I was like, no. But there was something in there that I'd known, and funnily enough, I reckon if he wasn't there, I wouldn't have went to Phoenix. But I'm happy to say that I'm grateful that I went to Phoenix, and I'm grateful for everything Phoenix had done for us. So I went through the treatment. It was quite hard, you know. The first 4 or 5 weeks I was resistant. Who are you to say this to me? I know better. Under-medicated, all that stuff, you know what I mean. And I can remember when I came off my detox, came off my methadone, and I was like coming out of coma. That's the best way I can describe it. And I get these feelings back, and realising you've got a kid and people that you tend to forget, especially when you get caught up in homelessness, you tend to forget a lot of things, and it's only you. You know, you're dead self-centred and selfish to the core. And then once I started applying myself fully to the programme, that's when my life got better. You know, I can remember sitting in my first peer group, and they're all talking open and honest, and like, who's talking about my past going to help me? And I see now it's helped me massively. You know, open-mindedness, willingness, and honesty. That's the 3 best things you can have for recovery. As long as you've got these 3 things, recovery is possible. And recovery is possible because I see it every day. I eat, sleep and breathe recovery, and I see it every single day. You know, I see people trying, and it works, you know. So I can remember Paul coming up and he was saying to us, I'll just tell you a wee bit about the song. He was saying to us, what would you like to do, enter for this Phoenix competition for a song? He says, aye, right, we'll enter it. So we entered it, no thinking any hope in hell that we would get picked, you know. And then I can remember him coming out of the office and says, we've been picked. Pardon my French here, but I shat it. I did. I was like, oh no, how are we going to write a song, you know? So we got a group of people together. We sat down and we wrote a song within 5 days called Broken Soldier. And the song's really inspirational to me. It gets me really emotional thinking about it, because it's my life, and it's probably a lot of addicts' lives out there. Starting in the gutter, homelessness, whatever your past is, and then confronting your fears, getting better to the point that your family are proud of you, your kids are proud of you, your brothers, sons, daughters, everybody's proud of you, not just them, but the people that are about you, your peers, staff. You know, and as I say there, I had no role models in my life growing up, but now I've got millions of positive role models in my life that are good for my recovery, and I don't see a way back now. There's no excuse. I've done that much work in Phoenix, there's no excuse for me to use. It's all about choices. And as long as I keep making the right choices, I'll continue to recover. Thanks for listening.
Afternoon, everybody. First song we're going to do is we're going to do a song called everyone stand by me. We're going to save the best till last. Before I start, I'd just like to thank Phoenix for giving us the opportunity to be up here today. We've had an amazing journey writing this song, recording it. It's been some buzz. The band's changed a little bit on the way, but we've all got common ground. And that's why we're standing here today.
Is on, and the moon is the only light we'll see. Though I won't be afraid, though I won't be afraid, just go.
Glasgow Residential, please. Thank you.
I need a hand.
Okay, thank you, common ground. Another round of applause. Okay, moving on. We're going to now hear a share from Henry. Where are you, Henry? Henry's from our Young People Service in Trafford and has been currently with us for 5 months. And he's written a book about his own recovery, which he's going to share part of that with us today. Thank you, Henry.
And then I'm back with Donna.
I think maybe describing this as a recovery book might be like deploying a bit of artistic license. But what it is the girl I was with at the time didn't really understand like heroin misuse and using drugs intravenously, and I thought it might be a poor suggestion to say maybe you should try some heroin. So I thought I'd sort of try and write down what it feels like and the reasons why I was using heroin. So I'll read out that particular bit. Take every feeling of warmth, every ounce of satisfaction and every fulfilment of every desire that you've ever had. Make it easy, make it bold, make it startling, make it yours. This is how she entices you. She makes a sweet song of her whispering words and pours them like a hypnotic nectar into your welcoming ear. She rides inside you like the sonnet of 1,000 lovebirds, dulling your woes with a facade of bliss, killing your pain with a glimpse of happiness. Your mind is her forte, your longing is her cue. You wince for the first time as she fixes her steely glance, assessing you and waiting for her time. Then it comes. She penetrates you, and for a few seconds her uncomfortable presence inside of you makes you yearn for yesterday and for a time where she doesn't exist. Then the hurricane. You see the red Merlot rising inside of her and take a deep breath as you watch her return with all of her splendour, enveloping every inch of you in a caress so strong, so heartfelt and so giving that you forget that you're in a void. Her surge of everything that is wonderful into you has put you in a place where death is ever present, where every mistake is a catastrophe and where you forget that she hangs from you now dead, empty and spent, her body limp and boring but still clinging to yours like a fucking scab. You don't care. You exhale and look away, wrap your cold fingers around her smooth, perfectly curved but perfectly still body and rip her from your flesh. You lean back as you cast her to the floor, satisfied but not for long. Your brief thrill allows you to forget for a handful of minutes, but soon you will need this again. Soon you will prowl the streets hungry and cold, searching longingly for a way to fill her with life again, so that your foul kiss can take it from her once more. She is your saviour, she is your grace. She is your needle, she is your pin. She is sickly sweet heroin. Basically, I'm not going to read any more out because it gets a bit depressing from there. But the point is... Oh, chill out. Easy, steady. No, the point is, I think, that a lot of people don't really understand what heroin addiction's like. People can't, like, if you tell somebody, oh, I inject drugs, you know, what the fuck, why would you inject yourself? It's crazy, it's mental. But I think if there's something in your reality that you're trying to escape from, and you can't cope with the world, like everything's just a fucking mess, like your emotions are just destroyed. Like if you see your life as like a room, and now it's a nice, tidy, ordered room, there's a bookshelf, all your experiences of the different volumes along the shelf. If somebody who's walking into an addiction, because you don't think to yourself, oh well, for the next 10 years I'm going to take heroin, that's my plan, that's what I'm going to do. Like, you think, well, this will help me to escape for a brief time. Like, I don't have to deal with reality. I keep like face-butting this microphone. It's pretty gross. Sorry to whoever's next. But like, it's just one of those things. You don't plan for it. There's no contingency. You don't think, well, in 10 years my life's still going to be shit. I still won't own anything. I'll probably have like pissed off all my friends by stealing from them or lying to them. It's not something that you plan for. And literally all you do, whatever your drug is, like even now I've been clean of heroin for like 5-6 months, but I still use other things, and it's still about escaping from the monotony of life, like the kind of the idea that you have to subscribe to a certain system and you have to do things a certain way, and it's very difficult to deal with, especially if you like suddenly realise that you're an adult now. I started using when I was a child, so I didn't properly understand the implications then, and then I stopped using it and thought, oh fuck, I've got responsibilities now, this isn't right, like, this shouldn't be happening, I can't cope with responsibility. And then you shrink away again, and you become a shadow of what you were when you were a drug addict. So you think, well, obviously I've got to use, because that's what defines me, that's who I am. I use these drugs and then I become who I am. So then you start using again, and it becomes this horrible vicious cycle where it's really full of spit now. This, I'm genuinely heartfelt apology to whoever's next. It's dripping, but it isn't really like. But I'll go again. But I just think it's important that people. And by the way, I should point out, I had no idea that the title of this gig was "Be Inspired by Recovery." Like, if I'd have known that, I'd have been like, well, that's not really my thing. But I do like, now that I'm already here and I've already come here, I think people are sharing these experiences, and a lot of these people are a lot further through their journey than I am with mine, and they've made more important decisions than I've made. All the decisions I've made at the moment are still kind of quite self-centered. They revolve around me. I'm like, I don't want to die, so I better stop taking heroin. I don't want to have a heart attack, better stop smoking crack. Like, it's all been quite selfish. A lot of the people here have changed their lives for the sake of their families or for the sake of the people around them. For me, it's just because I want to stay alive for a bit longer, because I'm quite enjoying the world. So I think it's a different journey, but I think it's as relevant. I think it's important that people have an insight into what it's like to be using, because people just don't fucking understand. Like, most of my friends that are my age, if they walk past somebody who's sat in the street begging, they'd be like, oh, he's a fucking smackhead, so I'm not going to give him any money, because he's just going to spend it on heroin. But I mean, maybe I'm just stupid and naive, but I'd maybe flick them a quid or whatever, because I can empathise with where they're coming from. And I think it's important that everybody should, like, we can empathise with people who are of a different ethnicity or a different sexuality or whatever. So I think it's ridiculous that we can't empathise with people who are basically the same as us in every way, except they made one bad decision a long time ago and now we just fucking write them off as a member of society. I think that's pretty fucked. I should probably leave it there before this turns into a rant, but thanks for listening anyway. Have a good afternoon.
Should we introduce ourselves before we do that?
Okay, thanks Henry for your honesty. Recovery is about honesty. Okay.
At least I forgot to introduce myself, and then Di forgot to introduce herself as well. So, my name's Bob Campbell, and I work at Phoenix, obviously, and I've worked at Phoenix for 30 years or so, and I've been in recovery since 1977, so it's a long time actually, yeah. I'll introduce Di as well, because I first met Di when I was running one of the Phoenix houses in Sheffield, the TC in Sheffield, and she came 20 years ago, 20 odd years ago anyway, and there's a guy in Sheffield who does a BBC radio programme called what's his name? Roney something?
I don't know that.
Richard Roney anyway, something like that. And he came up to the house and did a live broadcast from the house, which is great. It was like a sort of phone-in thing, and people were talking about their recovery and stuff like that, and talking about the programme. And Di had been there about a week, and she was working in the kitchen. And I was sitting in my office listening to it on the radio. And suddenly Di came on, and I thought, oh my God, she's only been here a week, and she won't know what to say, she won't know what to do, she won't know what the programme's about. Half an hour later, she told the guy about the programme, about her life, about what she was going to be doing for the next 20 years, and she's still doing it, so this is Di.
Thank you. Thank you, Bob. My name's Di Hilton. I'm one of the managers for Phoenix and have been working for the organisation 17, 18 years. And if we're going to share stories now, I've got a quick... Yes, Bob. Okay. I've got a very quick one about Bob. We had the privilege of going to Buckingham Palace together, Bob and I. And, you know, that's a one-in-a-lifetime opportunity, isn't it? And who'd have thought people like me and Bob would have ended up in the Queen's Garden, but hey. And I couldn't, you know, what a fantastic guy to go with. If I was going to share that experience with anybody, it would have had to have been Bob. We did look good. In fact, we had some pictures taken at the back of Central Office and people thought we were getting married. Yeah, because we had all our... Anyway, so we goes off to the palace and we're all there, suited and booted. And we look good and we're in the middle of the palace garden now. And Bob and I were looking around and he said, "Didn't think we'd ever get here, did we, Di?" I said, "No, we didn't, Bob." And then he points to these flats and he said, "Do you know, really serious, quietly officer so nobody else could hear." He points to these flats that are overlooking the palace garden. Oh, the Hilton, okay. And he said, "You know, Di, 35 years ago, I was on the top of that taking heroin." He said, "Looking into this garden," he said, "I never thought I'd be here." And I always remembered that, and I just thought, only Bob could have that story, couldn't it? You know, but the other side for that was that it shows you in terms of recovery, you never know when you get recovery what is around the corner. And 35 years before, he never would have imagined that in 35 years' time, he's going to be stood in the middle of the Queen's lawn, next to me. Well, he didn't know me then, did you, Bob? But next to me, having that experience, you know, and I just think that sums up recovery, doesn't it? So, thank you.
I've actually got another bit of a story about that. While we're at it. When you go to the Queen's Garden Party, there's sort of, you're milling around eating sort of sandwiches and drinking like cups of cucumber sandwiches with the crust cut off. And we're standing there anyway. What happens then is that they sort of come out from the house, a sort of entourage, the Queen and Prince Philip and all that gang, come sort of to stroll through the gardens. But they had to sort of make these sort of sergeant at arms had to make way for people to sort of stand out of the way, and they come around and ask people if you want to be introduced. And this guy had sort of full regalia, sort of very grand guy with a red nose, came up to Di and he said, "Darling, do you want plucking?" Oh, it was great. Plucking from the crowd and to be introduced to the Queen, you know, not actually plucking, but there you go. But he was glint in his eye, you know, one of those jobs.
Anyway, back to the serious stuff. So, the next person, before we move on to further music, the next person that's going to come up and do a share, I had the privilege of meeting Donna when she came into our Wirral residential service in 2011. And over that time, I have seen this woman transform mentally, physically, spiritually into an awesome, absolutely awesome woman. Come on, Donna.
Yeah. Before I went into Phoenix, I'd had 33 years in addiction. It started off where I was a mother at home with 2 young children, and it seemed okay. And then it progressed to where I lost my children, went to prison. As a result of losing my children, I ended up in hospital quite frequently with self-harming issues. I went on to have 2 more children and lost them as well, because I couldn't put anything before the drugs that I needed. And then towards the end of my addiction, I ended up homeless and was begging on the streets, constantly in and out of hospital with different medical issues. I had pancreatitis, COPD, ulcers in my stomach, and aneurysms on my brain. And I was told that if I didn't have an operation on my brain, I was going to die. But my journey with Phoenix didn't start at the residential, it started with the outreach team. with the community services, and Kirsty wouldn't give up on me, even though I'd given up on myself. She kept chipping away at me, and she was constantly at the hospital helping me, until in the end I gave in and went into detox. And while I was in detox, I hadn't seen my mum for about 10 years. They allowed me to go and see my mum, and she was in a coma. And I lost her 2 days later, and I couldn't cope with it, so I went back out and started drinking again. But I'd had a taste that I could do it, I could do it. So I went back and tried again, and then went to Phoenix. And I was terrified when I went to Phoenix, couldn't look anyone in the eye. I knew I wanted this. I had friends. I thought I wanted to die, but it wasn't until a close friend of mine died that I realised how final death was. And I went for it in Phoenix. I really believe this, that there's nothing like the therapeutic value of one addict helping another. And I think that's what it's all about unity. And that's exactly what we've done in Phoenix. It's hard, to be pulled up and get told about your behaviours, and, because I behaved fine, me. That's why I was an addict for 33 years. But, no, I liked it, and I got into it, and I knew that I could work, but I'd have to work it. I was there 2 months, and they allowed me to go and see my dad. And 2 weeks later, my dad died. And I think everybody expected me to go the way I did when my mum had died, but I didn't. I went for it. And I really, really loved Phoenix. I got right into it. I think the biggest part for me in Phoenix was being the Welcome House co-ord. I love new people coming in. I love new people coming into recovery. Anyway, I finished at the Resi and went into the re-entry phase. Finished that and went into supported housing, and I was well enough to have the operation on my brain. I have got one, and surprisingly. Anyway, the operation was a success, but they found more aneurysms, so I've got to have another brain operation. I don't know what the chances are of them finding it twice, but but if I had a really good foothold on recovery, and I've done loads in recovery, really things that I just never dreamt I'd ever do, like the Voyage to Recovery, and they actually let me steer Tectona down the Mersey, and it crashed, but it wasn't me that was steering it. But it's brilliant memories, and it's about learning different things, and life's brilliant if you want it. I choose to maintain my recovery and fellowship, and that works for me. And I'm privileged to have some amazing people around me. And I know that everything I do is down to being given a chance. And that's what it's all about for me. Thanks for listening.
Days like this are really inspirational. It's listening to stories like Donna's that really hits you there, and reinforces the fact that recovery is brilliant, recovery is great, recovery is happening all around us. Now we come to another musical piece, or several pieces actually. Glenn McGlone, who's a graduate of our Phoenix TC in Sheffield. Is a brilliant and inspirational musician and a brilliant and inspirational character. So over to Glenn.
Hi guys. Hiya. It's nice to see you all here.
Is the mic okay? Lift it in.
Yeah, a little bit. That's nice. Thank you. This guy's going to sort me out some guitar volume. So since we're in Liverpool, I better do a big song, eh? Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. Now it looks as though they're here to stay. Oh, I believe in yesterday. Suddenly, I'm not half the man I used to be. There's a shadow hanging over me. Oh, yesterday came suddenly. Why she had to go, I don't know. She wouldn't say. I said something wrong, now I long for yesterday. Life was such an easy game to play. Now I need a place to hide away. Oh, I believe in yesterday. You know what? It's great to see some faces. I'm not seeing some faces here. Melrose, not seen for ages. And my busy Tom, well, I've not seen for ages. And it's great to see all of you here today. I found it really inspiring to be here today, just to reconnect with you guys. It's been cool. I need to remember where I came from. You guys are reminding me. It's good. I think I'll do a Bill Withers number. Since it's a nice day. When I wake up in the morning, love, and the sunlight hits my eyes, something without warning, love, lays heavy on my mind. Then I look at you, and the world's alright with me. Oh, just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day. A lovely day. When the day ahead of me seems impossible to meet, someone up ahead of me always seems to know the way. Then I look at you, and the world's alright with me. Oh, just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day. A lovely day. The sunlight hits my eyes, something without warning, love, lays heavy on my mind. Then I look at you, and the world's alright with me. Oh, just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day.
sun. I'll be sitting when the evening comes, watching the ships roll in, and I'll watch them roll away again. Now I'm just sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. Left my home in Georgia, headed for the Frisco Bay, and I got nothing to live for. It seems like nothing's gonna come my way. I'm just sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. It looks like nothing's gonna change. Everything remains the same. And I can't do what 10 people tell me to do, so I guess I'll remain the same. I'm sitting here resting my bones, and this loneliness won't leave me alone. 2,000 miles I've roamed just to make this dock my home. I'm just sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Ooh, sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. I can't whistle this bit. Watching the tide roll away, sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. Cheers, thank you very much, and a great afternoon. Lovely to be here.
That was great, then. I've been told to come up and kill a bit of time by telling my story. So we could be here for days, but I'm going to have to cut it a bit short. I mean, hearing this sort of music and recovery sort of together is something that I guess we all can relate to. I mean, I guess a lot of us experience the days of sex, drugs and rock and roll. Well, this is just about rock and roll now. I told that joke earlier, but still okay.
Still funny,
Okay, my story. I mean, I won't go through the bit where I was sort of bang at it, but I think it's, again, my recovery starts just before I went to Phoenix, and a bit like Stuart, whose story you'll be hearing soon. I didn't really think I could ever stop using drugs or change my life, but I was in Brixton Prison on one of my little episodes, waiting for the judge to decide what to do with me on remand, and I'd heard there was somebody who actually left Phoenix, had split from Phoenix, who came in and said, there's this place that it's a guy called Peter Martin who's running it, and this is an old Palamone from way back. And I thought, well, if he's there and he's running it, it must be a really good blag. So after several months, I managed to get the judge's remand to go to Phoenix. And it was a bit of an episode getting there. I mean, one of the residents came to pick me up, and she was like sort of freaked out that I looked like a villain. You know, I was a really nice guy, you know, as I thought. But she took me sort of to Phoenix. I don't know. I mean, this is in London, South London. Phoenix was the only Phoenix around at the time, and I was in Kingston Crown Court. And she took me via sort of Red Hill in Surrey and Guildford and God knows where to get. Because she wanted me to avoid going through the West End of London, just in case I ran into some old friends of mine. So anyway, we finished up at Phoenix, walked through the door, and I guess it took me about a week to realise where I was. I wasn't sure what was going on. It was like one of those sort of madhouse, you know, everybody's running around doing things and all looking very motivated, and I couldn't quite catch up what was going on, but there were people there that I'd known from the street, and I guess it's one of those things where you see people who you think would never change, and there they were, they're sort of putting their life together, looking really good, looking really together. I mean, they weren't totally together, I mean, they were just in the programme, but from my perspective, they looked like they were getting their lives together, and they were. And I guess that's where it started for me, and it took a while. I mean, it was sort of going into groups and, you know, people telling me I was being dishonest, and I wasn't telling lies, I was okay, you know, I thought I was a, you know, really nice person, you know, but I'd actually, you know, I wasn't sort of being honest, I wasn't telling the truth about how I felt about, you know, I was sort of ducking and diving as I'd always done so for a long time. But it sort of hits you, you know, and you start to sort of listen to people and start to be able to not only listen, but actually respond to people and tell people what you see in them, and see some of the behaviours that they are acting out, and you know, like you can relate to it. And it's that whole sort of peer support thing that is really important in recovery, and really important, you know, it's part of the essence of Phoenix and where Phoenix comes from, and it's always been about recovery as far as Phoenix is concerned. So it took me a few months to get all that together, and like, I suppose what happened then was that I never really thought I'd work in the field. I thought, well, you know, I've been through a programme, I'm never going to work at Phoenix. I mean, I couldn't do that again. You know, even working there was a sort of, would be a struggle. So I got a job as a van driver, working for Initial Services, which was great, you know, humping great lumps of laundry around and driving around, getting up in the morning, making my bed like through winter snow, you know, walking, you know, catching a bus at 6 o'clock, having the sort of breakfast, doing the things that people do, you know, when they're living their lives, you know, working, grafting, doing a sort of tough job, you know. And it was great. And then a guy called Rowdy Yates, who I'd sort of seen at Phoenix, came, he used to run a place called Rife in Manchester. And they were looking for somebody with my qualifications, i.e. a long-term drug user who'd actually started to get their lives together and been through a rehab program. And I started working in Manchester. That was 1979. I worked at Lifeline for 5 years, and then another Phoenix was being opened up in Sheffield. So then I sort of thought, well, I'd go and work at Phoenix again, because I think I know what I'm doing now, you know. And then that was, see Mickey laughing at me. That was 30 years ago, 1984, yeah, so. I've worked in various roles at Phoenix since then, and wow, it's really amazing. Standing here doing this, I'm whispering now. So yeah, so recovery is great, isn't it? Come on, yeah. No, I've got to do something else, haven't I? Oh yeah, diet, come on.
Slightly now, because that's what we do in Phoenix. We're going to have a 10-minute break. Now, for people that have not sort of been part of our family for a long time, there are two times. There are Phoenix time and there is Greenwich Mean Time, okay? We're going to not do Phoenix time, we've got 10 minutes. Yeah? So we need to be back, please, in the room in 10 minutes time so we can carry on. Okay, thank you.
There you go. You're right.
Hey, yeah.
You might have to do yours as well now.
Yeah.
I'm going to introduce Stuart now.
Hey?
Okay, we're going to start again. The next person that's going to come up, I think is well known to the majority of people in this room. He's been around, not as long as Bob, but he's been around quite a long time, and he's an absolute inspirational guy. Stuart Plant.
Yeah, are we there? Good. Afternoon everyone, so come to share a little bit, tell you a little bit about me. I did it this morning in the dress rehearsal, but I can't remember what I said then, so what comes out is meant to be said, I suppose. I don't really want to share too much about the mess of addiction because we hear that sort of stuff a lot and we see it on a daily basis, so I wanted to more share about my treatment side of it really, and the things that have happened as a direct result of doing treatment. So I entered treatment into 2003, December 2003, and I came there on the back of remand from prison, and I was looking at a long sentence, so I thought rehab would be an easier option, would be a better option, and for anyone that's ever done a bit of prison, you'll normally find lots of people on the wing and on the landings that are the best solicitors in the world, or think they are, and they'll always give you the best advice, or what they think is the best advice, and everyone's going, yeah, go to rehab, it's easy, you'll go there, do a couple of months and you'll be back out doing what you've always done. And that was the place I was at the time. I wasn't ready to stop using, I just didn't want to do another sentence. So I was given 3 brochures by my probation officer, and one was for the lay community in Oxford. One was for a place in High Wycombe where I'm from, a community project, and the other one was for Alpha House as it was back then, which is Hampshire residential now. And she said, take him back to your cell and have a look and let me know in a couple of weeks when I come back up to the jail. And I read through them and I thought the community one was for me. I could still go home and see my missus and probably get away with using and blag the test. So when I met up with her, I said, I'll go for this one, please. And she said, you know what, I knew you'd say that, but you're going to Alpha. And, you know, people often say that there needs to be a power grade in you or an intervention that's kind of beyond your control, and that was where it started for me, right there with that probation officer. And I wasn't very grateful of it at the time, and I didn't really see the gratitude in the decision she made, but you know, she made the decision, and a couple of months later I ended up getting sentenced to go to 15 months DTTO at Alpha House. And I come out of Aylesbury Crown Court and was given a travel warrant and said, right, get yourself down to Alpha, and if you turn up there and you've used, you'll go straight back to jail. I'm not really sure how I managed to get there really. I'd gone through my hometown. It just kept my head down really, and just kind of focused on I need to get there. If I go and do a few months down there, then I can kind of do what I want to do. And I got down there, and a couple of guys picked me up from the train station, and they pulled up in this clapped out old Toyota, and I wasn't sure who was staff, who was resident, and I wasn't even really sure who was meant to be picking me up. Like, they could have been taking me anywhere, but I got in anyway. You know, I'd done plenty of things in my using without knowing the consequences, so I might have jumped in the car, and they drove me out into the countryside, and I'm thinking we're going a long way. And then we pulled up at this great big manor house in Droxford, and I'd never stayed in any of them. I'd robbed a few in my using, but I'd never stayed in any, and I kind of settled in, did the first day there, and after doing the strip search, after doing prison, the strip search was a minor really, but my first group that night was a peer evaluation, and that was where everyone kind of told you where you were going wrong in your programme. And I sat there listening to this fellow having a peer evaluation. I thought, if they all start talking to me like that, I'm going to be fighting with them. And I kind of thought then that I want to go back to prison. Really, I want to run. Going and doing a 7-year sentence seemed a lot more appealing than doing a few months in rehab, because there was going to be people there that would be telling me about myself. And that scared me more than anything. I did Christmas and got through the family open day, and I wanted to have no family because I'd only been in treatment a couple of days, and my family couldn't come down and visit because I hadn't done risk assessments and I was still brand new. And I sat in the pool room smoking tobacco like it was going out of fashion, and just gripped with fear really, seeing all these kids and families running around having a great time, and I was just sat there thinking, what are they doing, you know? I got through Christmas, and that was my first Christmas clean since I was about 13 years old, and I actually enjoyed it, surprisingly enough. I kind of went away and hid in the kitchen and said that I'd help cook the dinner, because that way I didn't have to experience all the fun stuff that was going on in the treatment centre. And my key worker came in and she gave me a bag of presents that the staff team had bought. And the staff team had bought one for every resident, but it kind of felt really special because they bought me something I didn't know, and they didn't want nothing from me, and they were giving me something free. And I was in a bit of shock by that, thinking there's got to be an ulterior motive. But there wasn't. All they wanted from me was to do well. And I kind of stuck it out for a couple of months, and I realised that if I put a bit into it, I could kind of get a little bit of what other people were getting in the house, and that was recovery, and they were seeing their family, they looked happy, they looked content, and I thought, well, maybe I could have a little bit of that. And I went through some tough times in treatment. I cried a lot, I got angry a lot, and called a few people a few names, and got encountered around a few bits and pieces. And for people that have ever done TCs, you'll know what an encounter is all about, and it's not the most comfortable of places to sit when it's on you. And I kind of got told about myself, and it was what I needed really. I needed to be told about myself, because I wasn't the nicest of people in addiction. I wasn't the nicest of people when I was in treatment. I was quite arrogant and egotistical and thought I knew best, and I'd use more than you, and who were you to tell me? And I ended up staying in the main house for 8 months, which is bizarre these days when you look at how long someone's in treatment. But back then that was kind of normal to do 8 months in the main house. And then I went over to the resettlement part of the programme. And I'd always had reservations that if people close to me died, that I'd struggle with that and I might use, or I'd kind of given myself a back door that I would use. And my granddad fell ill when I was in the cottage part of the programme, which was resettlement, and I suppose I had enough recovery around me by then to know that I had to do something different, and I put in a request to go home and see him and spend some time with him. And I did that, and funnily enough, a good friend of mine who was a close peer, who was from up this way, he come with me, and was a great sense of support for them 24 hours when I was seeing my granddad on his deathbed. And it wasn't the easiest thing to do, but I kind of knew if I didn't do that, I'd end up probably using on it. And I did that, and I got back to the treatment centre, scared, fearful of what had happened if and when he died, and I kind of knew it was coming. And a few days later, I got the phone call, I had my mobile by then. It was like getting reborn, getting a mobile phone back. And I had my mobile by then, because I was in the cottage, and my brother phoned me about 3 in the morning to say that Grandad had died. And I didn't use, you know. I kind of went downstairs, had a fag, had a coffee, and kind of, you know, cried to myself for a bit, and I pulled some support. You know, I spoke to my key worker, I spoke to my peers, and my key worker said, it may not seem like it at the moment, Stu, but he's giving you a gift. And I said, you know what, it's a fucking painful gift if it's a gift. And she said, it's the gift to be able to grieve with support and grieve in a place where you're safe. And it took me a while to process that, but I kind of got it eventually, and I moved on to re-entry and spent some time in the re-entry phase and went into supported housing, which was the right move for me. I wanted to relocate. I'd made the decisions that I was going to relocate and not go back to where all my madness was and kind of live in Portsmouth. But I did the cardinal sin when I was in re-entry, and I got in a relationship, and I was being told by my key worker and all the staff don't get in a relationship and all that sort of stuff. Get yourself a plant first and look after that for a year, and, you know, and get a pet. And if you looked after a pet for another year, then you can have a relationship. And I wanted to try something different. I kind of had to do it my own way, and I got in a relationship with a lady where I was doing the voluntary work, and you know, it was fun, it was interesting. I'd never been in a relationship before without any drugs inside me, and I'd never had honest conversations about feelings with a woman. It'd always been around drugs and sex, and it wasn't about that anymore really. It was something different. And kind of, you know, having sex clean was a whole different experience, and one that was quite nice actually, funnily enough, and because I could actually remember it the next day. And I started working then, because I kind of felt like I wanted to be giving something back, so I did some voluntary work working with young people, sailing boats and all that sort of stuff. And I'd been on the first sailing trip that Phoenix done back in 2005. And, you know, I kind of got a lot out of that, working with young people and trying to support them from not doing the same things that I did wrong. And I made some mistakes during that time. I kind of got involved with a charity that maybe wasn't the right place to get involved, but I saw where it was going wrong and come away from there, and I went back driving vans actually. Bob, like, you know, Bob said that he went driving vans, and I drove a van for a little while delivering car parts, and I wanted to slip my wrist most nights when I got home from that, but I felt like I was doing something, I was giving something back. I really hated the job, but I kind of had a little bit of self-worth that I was putting some money into the kitty at home, and it wasn't all about my girlfriend paying for all the bills and all that, because that's what it would have been like in me using. And I went on from there and went back to fitting windows, because I'd done that in my using, and that didn't feel very right. It was good money, but it still didn't feel right. And by chance I was taking the window out one day and a bit of glass slipped and nearly cut my thumb off, and I ended up not being able to do that for a while, and I ended up, I don't know why, but whenever I was struggling, or whenever I was having a bit of a bad time or a little bit lost, I'd always find myself at the doors of Alpha House. And I went in there and I was chatting away to the managers and the staff team and chatting to a few residents, and the team manager said, well, why don't you start doing a bit of volunteering with us and see how it goes from there. So I started volunteering, and it took ages for my CRB to come back. And eventually when all that come through, I applied to be a sessional, and with the support of the staff that were there and Phoenix as a whole, I kind of went on to be a key worker, and it was kind of surreal really that I was all of a sudden giving people the support that I was getting 3 years beforehand, and working through care plans with people and all that sort of stuff, and doing all this training and that. And to work with someone and see him change before your eyes is a powerful thing, and I kind of got why people did it for me when I was in treatment. And I stayed doing that for a while, then went on to do stuff with the re-entry housing with Phoenix. And then when we had the restructuring a few years ago, I went on and become the department coordinator. And my job role hasn't always been what it said on the role profile. I've kind of done a lot of other things outside my job, which there's probably some of my old managers in the room that agree with that. And because I've kind of always wanted to get involved, and thankfully the people that have managed me have allowed me to get involved. And I kind of got involved. I had a bit of an idea around doing a bit of sailing, and got supported with that. We ended up sailing around Britain a few years ago, which was an amazing thing. And my career within Phoenix has gone from strength to strength, really. And I suppose it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I put myself out there. I'm kind of always willing, and probably too willing sometimes, if you ask me wife. And I get back what's freely given to me, both like I did in early recovery, or like I do now in employment. And with all that going on in my life, I kind of then had the flip side of that, the family side of it. I stayed with the young lady that I got with when I was in treatment, and actually it worked out, funnily enough. And I can remember kind of breaking one of the rules when I was in re-entry and going into a boozer to have a conversation with her. We weren't supposed to go in licensed premises back then. And we had a conversation about we only want to have a bit of fun. And then 3.5 years later we had our first child, and it was kind of against all odds really, because due to some of the things I'd done to myself in my youth, and I wasn't that wasn't that well. You know, I wasn't really producing very good stuff, and my wife had her own bits and pieces going on, and they said it wasn't going to happen. But by the grace of God, it did. You know, and we were blessed with a beautiful daughter who's 6 now, and then 2 years later we had another little child, little Ollie, our little boy, and if someone was to kind of say, do you know what, if you was to look back on your life when you first come into treatment, and what would your life look like in 10 years, it would never have been how it is today. And I got married a couple of years after that. I did it all arse about face really, which has kind of been often the way for me. I went to Cyprus and got married in Cyprus with my wife and a lot of friends in recovery really, and a lot of close friends and not many family, because I kind of struggle around my family sometimes. They don't really get me, don't really understand me, so but my friends do, because they kind of understand what recovery is about, what honesty is about. And we got married out there, and we come back, and my son and my daughter was at the wedding. It was an amazing thing, and since then, you know, life's gone from strength to strength. And I walked into the doors of Phoenix a broken man, not wanting recovery, just wanting to get out of a long sentence, and they never really let me go. And 10 years on, I'm still here. And it's kind of like, you know, after following Bob, he's like a role model to me, and that's where I'd like to be in 30 years, you know. So I'll leave it there.
Okay, I'm really trying to hold it together. Thanks for that, Stu. I knew you should have gone after Stu. Okay, we're going to move on now, and we're going to have some more music. Slightly different this time. I think it was about 18 months ago, Lindsay Haig, who was the residential manager, said to me, "Dad, can we have a choir? And, you know, can we have goats, can we have chickens, can we have a choir, okay?" I said, "Yeah, why not? Let's have a choir." And it's like anything, isn't it? You do things in residential services, and you think, you know, are the residents going to want to do this? Are they going to be inspired by this? But let's give it a go. And it's bigger than we imagined. It's more than a choir now. These guys are more than a choir. In fact, next year we're going to have a budget line just for the choir. Yeah, they've been amazing, absolutely amazing. And since we did the music competition and stuff that they got involved in, we get phone calls all the time. Can the choir come and play? They've been to London. They've been all over the place. And the feedback is phenomenal. And it's not just about them getting up and obviously doing their stuff. It's also about, you know, they're showing visible recovery everywhere they go, and that actually this is possible for people. So absolute credit. One of the songs that they're going to sing, it makes our chief exec cry all the time, so, okay. But they actually wrote them themselves, and for me, it is our Phoenix song. That's how I see it. That's my thing. It's just our Phoenix song. It's our family song. So, welcome. Phoenix.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're Phoenix Voices. We're the choir made up of the residents from the Phoenix House of the World. We've been together about 4.5 months, doing various gigs all over the place. It's been great fun. But that's the nature of the lineup's forever changing. This is about the 20th lineup I've been in. Just 2 of us left with the original lineup. There's a few here today singing for the first time. So the first song we're going to do is Lean on Me, which you all know. The second one is Watch the Phoenix Rise. This is a song we wrote ourselves. It means a hell of a lot to us, and I hope you enjoy it.
on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. For it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride. If I have things you need to borrow, for no one can see those of your needs that you won't let show. Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. For it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. For it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. If there is a load that you can bear and you can carry, I'm right up the road. I'll share your load if you just call me. Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. For it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. For it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Just call me. Just call me. Just call. Just call me.
I think she's just.
Here as far recovery begun. If you look through your fingers, you'll see the sun. Out of the madness, you'll see out the night.
feel protected.
In partnership with Greater Manchester West in Lancashire. And over the last sort of 2 or 3 months, we've been inviting service users from Lancs to come to our events and be part of us really, and welcome them into our organisation. And I've just had a request from one of our guys from Preston. Mickey, where are you? Come on, Mickey. Today. It was just about coming along and watching what we do, and he just said, Dad, can I get up and can I do a poem and do a bit of a share? So, absolutely, Mickey.
Wow. Have you ever walked into a room and forgot why you went in? Just did that now. No, basically, I've suffered from anxiety ever since I can remember really, and there was a time I was too scared to even go outside, never mind stand on a stage in front of people I've never met, so with the confidence that I built throughout my recovery, I wanted to test it really. And me and my family, we've got a group called Tribal Project, and it's a project my stepdad runs, and it's called Big and Bold Media, and we normally write music for songs, because for me, my getaway is making music. I write down how I feel, I make it rhyme, and then I rap it and record it and put it onto a beat. Because for me it's like counselling, because I can say how I feel, however I want, and it's done then, it's off my chest. I feel so much better for it. When I'm really angry or really upset about my dad never being there and things like that, or things going wrong at home, I'll just write it down, make it rhyme and turn it into something positive, something that people can listen to and relate to it. So this sounds daft. I was in town the other day and I wrote a poem. I thought, if I was to stand on stage and write how I feel, this is what I would do. So I just wrote it, and it's on my phone, which is pretty silly, but so yeah, I'll read it. Sorry, I'm a bit nervous. I was broken and worn out. I felt tall. Sorry, I'll start again. I was broken and worn out. I was broken and worn out. I'd fallen, been torn out of society. I walk around with my head down, alone and left out. Self-pity was my bread now. Anxiety was the core of this internal war, this careless thought, this worthless bloke that had an urgent control to drink till I couldn't even stand or crawl, pouring my life into a hole, put myself behind a wall, disguised behind lies I didn't even know myself at all. I wasn't worthy of a soul, but just a cry on my own, like my pride wasn't born. A world full of people who are equal by soul, so I felt like I was strangers to the reflection in the mirror I didn't know. So I would just stay at home and drink. I made it a safety zone, but it changed and I became outrageously low. So many places I wouldn't go, scared of faces I didn't know. I'd take medication just to build the confidence to say hello. But luckily my faith grew a force when I was told about Luff and Red Rose, recovery, But I wasn't sure if I could take this. I knew my partner would hate this because to her it was just a room full of addicts, which is true, but that's just what the label is. But people are changing this, and this is the amazing twist. A transformation, a wish, a character building process, a fight without explosion of guns, knives or a fist. Just a will to be clean, a pure human, and not just a thing that exists. You can't be judged for who you were, it's who you are that counts the best. The rest is past tense. I mean, the actual change in me, it's real living evidence to just believe in yourself, in the programme and in the recovery. Set yourself free, accept yourself for who you are, who you were, who you've been and who you may be, and give the new you a chance to believe, a chance to breathe, the time to excel as a true human being. And remember, you deserve the life that you want and the help that you need. So I thank Smart Recovery for the life that it gave me, as I have drink problems since I was 16. Now I'm 22, happy, smiling and still clean.
That was so good and so brave. Brilliant. Thank you for that. Get plenty of hugs for that too. We're going to have another short break actually now. 20 minutes, did we say, Vicky? Where is she? Vicky, 20 minutes? 20-minute break, so you can go outside, have a cigarette, whatever, have a drink, and be back in Greenwich Mean Time, 20 minutes, which will be 1, 2, 3, 1:45. Okay, so 1:45. See you soon.